Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing better. So, if you listened last week, we had talked about we recorded the show a bit earlier in the week than usual because we knew we were coming down with something, and we're feeling much. Actually, we never felt bad. We're sounding much better than we did last week. Although I feel like my voice is very deep right now.
It's very deep.
Because we're recording in the morning, actually.
And Jared he's not fully awake until about 2 p.m.
Well, that's not true. But my voice tends
owl.
to be deeper in the morning. So I don't know if this is an improvement or not. I guess I'm going for my midnight DJ. What do you call it?
You're a midnight DJ?
I don't know. I feel like you could just have that voice where you just you take in listener calls and like Delilah, but not dumb.
Go ahead, listener.
Delilah. I mean, kudos to her. She's been doing it for like 85 years, but
she's still around. Yeah.
It's always like people calling in with just problems. She's like, I understand. I was like, I want to do a version where it's
but
just
like, what an easy job.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's a good gig. If you can get it. If you can. But yeah, like you do a version of Delilah, but like where you just, it's like Ron Swanson, where you're just handing out advice that's unsolicited. Be like, that's dumb. Don't do that. Next caller.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that. I would tune in to listen to that every night. Be like,
yeah, she's been around. She knows what she's talking about. Or does she?
Because
she has been divorced quite a few times.
That's what I don't. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Like she's been divorced like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, so it's like giving like relationship advice out when she does it. I feel
like
okay.
I mean,
all right,
do what you want, but at the same time, I don't know if asking somebody who's like thrice divorced
a good word
for relationship advice is the best move. But you know, I guess if you got no other options, but I guess songs heal it though. That's what it is. You call in and then you play a song.
That's it. And I won't do the jingle, the little sound for her that she does. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it today. I want to.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how we get on this topic, but anyways, I will be starting a midnight radio show where I take in callers apparently. But,
great.
But yeah, so we're doing better than we sounding deeper. But we are heading to Orlando this weekend.
Yes, Thursday through Saturday. So we're not going to be there on Father's Day. We'll be here at home. But yeah, we're going to do the Tiana annual pass holder preview. We're going to check out the stuff at Epcot. We're going to talk about all this stuff today a little bit. We're going to hopefully see the drone show at Disney Springs. Still haven't seen that. And then we've got a lot of stuff going on at Universal. They've got 2 new shows starting on Friday. Preview center's open. Yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious. The preview center, I don't think they're they're unveiling anything new, but it is kind of cool to be able to go through there and check out. Like they've got a full model of it and everything like that.
Great, but, yeah. So we'll be doing all that, and it'll be busy, and it's going to be rainy. So, but we need it because the water levels are really low at Disney World.
I was gonna say, I mean, I'm okay with it right now because we had a couple of days it was almost 100 degrees here.
Yeah,
which means in Central Florida it would be 180 and the worst. So
yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'm kind of okay with being wet and a little cooler maybe. Now, granted, that means it's going to be way more humid, but
right,
I can handle a little wet with maybe what is it, high 80s when it's raining.
Yesterday when it rained, it knocked it down to 79.
Okay.
So I mean, it's like I can handle that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stay down for very long after it stops raining.
That's
true. It just goes right back up, and you're like, ah. But
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah. So that's what we're gonna do this weekend. But today we have some news we're gonna talk about, including Jamie might even rant.
Yeah.
She might rant.
I have some thoughts.
Jamie doesn't rant often.
I don't, but I'm going to.
I like that.
I'm going to.
Not that I've been subtly trying to get her to rant. But
No. You have no influence of me whatsoever on this.
Well,
this is
I
purely.
Agree. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think some people are going to think that, but you literally came to me and was like, I have thoughts. I'm like, go for it.
I have thoughts.
Go for it. And then our segment today, we are going to talk about what we would fix in all 4 parks. And I have some thoughts there.
Okay. And we're just going to do a couple in each park. Not like a huge list or anything.
My list of 12 per park is too much.
But I think like a lot of these are things that we've mentioned already in the show, but we're just kind of going to go over them and maybe you think so too. And if you have other suggestions or things that Disney should do, you should put them in the comments if you're watching.
So Dave, you can do that if you're watching us over on YouTube. If you're listening on podcasts, it'd be kind of difficult. You could, but so you should check us out over on YouTube at CTM Podcast, as we have video versions of the show there. And we also have clips and all sorts of fun things there. So subscribe and like this video if you're watching there. And if you're listening on, like we said, this good old-fashioned gather on the radio podcast, how they used to do. I imagine that's how everybody listens that way. Yep. We ask you, please subscribe and, leave us a review if you wouldn't mind. We'd greatly appreciate that. And if you want even more content, want to help contribute to the show, you want to go to meetups, get apparel discounts, head over to ctmvip.com and look at joining Club 32. And that's where we have all our additional content there. Like we have the live streams we do every Tuesday, which is the Club 32 show, including trivia now. So that's the thing. So if you enjoy trivia, there's a place that you can either do really well or do terrible. But either way, it's a good time. And it's you keep your own track. You keep track of your own score.
It's on honor system.
So you could lie, but that's on you if you do that.
It's just fun.
Yeah. We have that. We also have the clubhouses starting this month, where some Club 32 members will become part of the show. We have a private podcast feed, private Facebook group. You get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products. There's a lot more stuff. Meetups, like we said, everything like that. So if you want to go join there, you can go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options. If you do the yearly, you get a free t-shirt. If you do monthly, you can even do a free trial if you want to check that out. And we'll be doing some live streams when we're in the parks this weekend, checking out some of the new stuff and things like that. So go over there and check that out. So, all right. Well, the first news story we have is it's been a little bit of a big week over at Disney. There were some things unveiled. There was a 3-day media event that started on Sunday, and some of the things that they showed we're going to talk about.
Yeah, the first thing is Communicore Hall and Plaza are now open, and the Epcot multi-year transformation is officially over. So in this area, there is the new Mickey and Friends meet and greet. There's a festival favorites food area for like yummy items that you'll find at Epcot festivals. This one specifically right now is all Encanto themed stuff. What was that food and wine? I think it's food and wine or Farm Garden. Food booth. What's it called? That's Encanto themed, and I can't remember what the name is. But it's all the items came from there, basically.
Oh, I don't recall the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then there is the Celebration Encanto show that's on the outdoor stage and the Communicore Hall area. Now, the Communicore Hall area will be home to the seasonal experiences like festival gatherings, demonstrations, live performances, like Mixology Bar, I think, is there. And also, obviously they do like a big presentation to the media that's out there. Ollie Carvalho was there from Moana, and she got to go through Journey of Water and everything. So that was cool. But they just kind of showed kind of what it will look like, especially in the Communicore Hall area. They kind of showed like its potential. The next day, however, it was different.
Well, this goes into, okay, Epcot is now, as they say, done.
It's done.
But when you look at, I don't know if this is going to go into what you're going to talk about, but it's like when you go into what originally was shown, what Epcot was going to be and what we end up having, including when you do side-by-side comparisons, some of the concept art, it's downright kind of sad. And to me, in terms of what we could have had, now, some of the things they announced, and I say sad in the terms of the concept art made these things look so cool. Like even Communicore Hall, like I think it was CWDW Instagram account, showed a side-by-side comparison of like the concept art of Communicore Hall, which looked almost like futuristic and all this stuff. And then what it is, it just looks like an office building almost. So things were definitely downgraded probably for costs and things. And yes, there was a pandemic, and I understand that. But Disney has had this tendency in the past to also do this where they show one thing and then things get like trimmed back. But some of the things that were announced that didn't happen was the Mary Poppins attraction.
And that was supposed to be in the UK.
That was in the UK. You had the redo of Spaceship Earth.
Didn't happen. Nope.
You also had what was that thing called? It was like
the Play Pavilion.
Well, there was the Play Pavilion, which I think the idea of that was really cool, but that got completely scrapped.
Yep.
And then what was that thing called?
It was supposed to be like an outlook.
A terrace.
Thank you.
The terrace thing where it was like this tower not tower, but this building that had levels with grass. You could check out the fireworks. Like
you could actually like see the fireworks.
Looked really cool. That got scrapped. It's just one of those things where I'm glad the construction is done, but I was a fan of the flow of the old Epcot. I miss the fountain. I wish the fountain could have stayed on things like that. So I think it'll be up for debate in the coming years as to if this is a better version of Epcot. It's newer, but is it a better park in that sense? I don't know, but at least it is done. But when it comes to Communicore Hall, I know you have some thoughts and generally, but
I have a rant.
I was just going to let you go because I have no idea what you're going to talk about.
Okay, so so on the media day when they came in and showed everybody what it would look like, there was like signage up, banners up, there was a live band, there was a lot going on. The next day, it became, dare I say, a empty cafeteria where they brought tables and chairs in, some couches. And it's just one long, literally hallway. There's no windows on the sides of the buildings. So it's like you're enclosed in it. That's not my main concern because I know the festival stuff's going to go in there. I know they'll have stuff going on other times of the year. I guess my question is why open it when there's nothing going on? I mean, it's just flex space right now. You can go in, get some AC, I guess charge your phone, but there's nowhere to plug it in. So I guess you'll have to just sit there and
recharge yourself,
right? Yeah. So it doesn't look themed. The theming is not there for me at all. And I was very disappointed when I looked at it and be like, oh, that's what this is. Okay. All right. So now that I can manage my expectations about what I will see, I'm not going to expect too much because that's what it's there for. It's a flex space to use for festivals and special events. Great. I I don't want to be like too negative here because again I haven't seen it in person, but I'm really sad. I'm really sad about what was promised, what was going to come, and that what didn't happen. I'm sad that we lost the fountain, and I know Jared said that before, but the garden area is beautiful, but I thought the fountain was much better. Why couldn't we do other festival stuff still in Wonders of Life Pavilion? Why is that still sitting empty? That I don't understand. To say that it's finished, Epcot is finished, based on what they did and promised and this whole transformation, I don't know. I'm underwhelmed.
I'll put it this way: them saying it's finished as if it's a grand thing, I was like, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah,
that's what it stated.
Yeah, and we haven't seen this in person, obviously, so this is just going based on what we've seen online. But that is the overall general thing that people are saying. Like, it's just, oh, that's what the hall is. That's what this is. And then the Celebration and Encanto show, obviously, we're not going to talk about that because we haven't watched it. But yeah, the hall itself, I don't know what I was expecting. I thought I was expecting more. But again, it's not in its full, show building. It's not in its full dress, I guess.
Well, the problem with it is what took so long to finish that is my first question. Because when you do look at that, it's just a very basic building. There's not like now, unless there's hidden elements and they've got underground tunnels in this thing. I don't know, but it seems as to like, I don't understand why it took so long to finish this. I agree with you. It's a flex space, which there's nothing wrong with a flex space. But the way in which my issue with a lot of stuff with Disney lately is, again, there's nothing wrong with Moana Journey of Water in and of itself. It's the way in which they promote it as if it's just like this oh my gosh, you're going to spend 4 hours in here. And you're like, it's fine, but it's like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's not, I feel like they hype things up to such a degree and then they're relying on, the media invites to come and then those people are going to pump it up for them. And I talked about this last night on our live stream, but I'm like, I feel like that model that Disney uses where, essentially they give out media invites because it's free advertising and the outlets like it because it's content. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. But I think they've always relied on the media outlets to just hype it up. And I don't really feel like that's working as much. And then especially when these media outlets are all coming back being like, you can tell a lot of them are trying to put it in a positive light, but how well are you going to spend like a room? And it wouldn't be that big of an issue if the other stuff had happened. But the problem being when everything else was stripped away, all these other, like we just talked about, all the stuff that they didn't do that they said they were going to do, and then this is part of the thing. Yeah, people are going to left underwhelmed considering all the stuff that was promised. I mean, this is essentially like saying, we're going to go to Paris and keep saying we're going to go to Paris. And then when it comes time to go, you're like, well, actually, we're going to go to Oregon. And you're like, oh, okay. And like, not that, well, depends on where you go. Nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it's not Paris. And it's not what you were promised. So you're automatically just sort of like, oh, that's fine, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. And I think once you're in that mindset, no matter how they try and spin it, it just seems very, underwhelmed. And again, I said all along, the gardens area, that was designed in California. Because I said we went through there. Like, this is nice, like especially when it opened up in the winter. But in the summer, this is unbearable because there's metal seats everywhere. It's in the sun. I'm like, who in the world is want to sit out here in July in Epcot?
Things already started to rust.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and again, it was a fine space. We were there enjoying it when it's like 60 degrees. But man, those seats and everything, unless they change some stuff up, I'm like, this is not going to get used in the summer. Yeah. And again, I missed the fountain. Like, I think the fountain was a cool aspect. You could have kept it and built some stuff around it. And it's some weird stuff, too. Like, you've got the dancing people over there in that area.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
There's nothing, again, it's not like nothing against those girls that are dancing. And, like, there's nothing wrong with it inherently, but it just doesn't fit Epcot. You're sort of like, what are we doing? Like,
well, they're trying to change Epcot, not to be, like, what it stands for.
I get that.
Like, so if you try not to think about it that way, then maybe it makes more sense. But I will say that two positives, maybe three positives that came out of the transformation. I will say, creations. I like the way that it's laid out better. Mouse Gear was a nightmare to navigate. So I will say creations is much better. I like the fact that now there's a bigger area to have Starbucks, because before it was right next to the fountain in the middle, and it was just a nightmare to get in and out because it was so tiny. So the fact that it's over in its own little big space is good. And then also my favorite thing that they did was the lights on Spaceship Earth.
But they did that early on. I mean, again, I like it as well, but that's a simple thing to do.
Absolutely. But that's literally my favorite thing. It doesn't have to be complex. That's also my thing. Like, it was a simple change they made, and I was like, oh, everybody loves that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yes, it was done before the 50th anniversary or whatever, right?
Yes, that was done something like that. Well, and two, I mean, they obviously don't skimp when it comes to like if places you're going to spend money, like the shopping in the Starbucks. Yeah. You'll notice those are done really well.
Yes.
I'm sure the shopping centers have been studied and they're doing, and like those that are laid up very nice. Yeah, I mean, I think it simply just comes down to, okay, Epcot before all this and then to now. Is it more, does it feel different? Is it more desirable to go to? All these things like that. And for me, I mean, Epcot's biggest draw still is the World Showcase to me. Mm-hmm. You got Guardians in there, which that is not really part of this redo. So to me, I kind of feel like it hasn't changed in terms of, there's some things like the fountain out front is nice when you walk in, and there's certain aesthetic things that are nice, but those are things you also could have done just without a big announcement. They're like, okay, we're going to update, which they needed to do. They needed to spruce up, and there's a lot of areas of Epcot that still need sprucing up. This was just one little part. So, I mean, I guess the way to look at it is like before this was all done and after, has the idea of this park changed? Is it more desirable for people to go to? I think a lot of things it can be, but I don't know if it's necessarily part of this whole Epcot, the initiative that they're focusing on. I think a lot of the reasons people want to go is you got Remy's, you got Guardians, you got a lot of attractions people like the World Showcase. I don't know how much of Communicore Hall is going to be a draw for people. I don't know how much of the Gardens area is really going to be a draw for people. You know what I mean? Like
we don't know yet. I mean,
we don't. But I have a hard time thinking normies are going to. And I say normies in the sense of people that are just looking to go on vacation somewhere. Those people are much more drawn to attractions. Things to do, not necessarily like, oh, the Gardens area. Which I'm not saying it's not nice. I'm just saying I don't think that's something that people are going to go, oh, yeah, let's go to Epcot to check out the Gardens area. Or let's go to Communicore Hall. Those are things that they're going to experience on their trip as part of it. So, we'll wait and see the final thing. And obviously we haven't checked it out in person yet. But it's a little bit. Some of the things are perplexing. I'll put it that way. But
Yes. Well, let's move on and talk about more things. So, Tiana's Bayou Adventure also got a whole media previews, presentations, and et cetera. So, like, we saw the cast of The Princess and the Frog. They were there, the voice cast. Media got to sample food and drink, rode the attraction. Still breaking down, by the way. Don't worry about that.
have they said what the issue with that is?
I don't know. I don't know. More sneak peeks at the merchandise. There's also a special commemorative print package that's going to be available starting on opening day for $32.95 plus tax. That includes the 8x10 ride photo, a digital copy of the floater that you'll get in your app, the recipe cards, and a thank you note from Tiana, and 2 prints of Tiana and her friends. So you can buy that extra on top of getting your ride photo. It's actually a pretty nice little thing. I looked at it. You can also do a PhotoPass magic shot. There's a prop photo, and there's also going to be a PhotoPass lens. They also gave more information about Tiana Disney Plus series coming soon. No premiere date was given, but they did announce a little bit more information about that. And some things that they were mentioning about the ride, in case you're curious. There are 48 all-new audio animatronic figures. There are 19 critters, including a turtle, raccoon, rabbit, fox, bear, and frogs that appear in the ride. It's about 11 minutes long. It takes place in 1927, and you can smell beignets during the ride twice. And there's more information about it, but that's the main stuff I wanted to say.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get a preview for a virtual queue on Thursday, but I guess today if you're listening on Thursday. But we don't know yet because we'll see how that goes. It might be really hard to get one. We'll see.
Yeah, don't know. Well, yeah, they're doing it differently because before you would reserve a time to go, and now they're just doing it like a virtual queue the day of. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I purposely just haven't been paying a lot of attention just so to experience a ride. But I haven't seen a lot of people complaining that they couldn't get one. Because usually that's a thing you'll hear about if people can't, like especially with Guardians. That was a thing for at least the first year of people having a really hard time getting Guardians. But
it's still kind of hard. It's still
it can
hard.
be.
If it's
I mean, it's a very popular ride.
Yeah.
So what? But this one is just only APs. So I suppose you do have a smaller group of people.
The only thing you run into is if it is going down a lot,
right?
And especially on Thursday and Friday, especially, they're going to get all the storms are coming in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yes. All right. Next news story we have is that unfortunately there is a dark, ominous cloud coming to Magic Kingdom in the sense that Country Bear Jamboree will officially reopen July 17th. Unfortunately, if you watch the show very long, I'm not a fan of these bears, but they're coming back.
We got a little bit more of a behind-the-scenes look, and again, this is a new revamped show that will feature songs in different musical styles. It includes A Whole New World from Aladdin, Try Everything from Zootopia, and Bare Necessities from Jungle Book. And one of the girls, I forgot her name, Allison something, she's sang I think the Zootopia song at the media event, and it sounds pretty cool. So, not a ride that I am excited for. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not really. Well, it's more of an attraction or a
whatever.
show. But
same.
I'm curious if people. Now, I am not one of them, but people that really love Country Bear Jamboree, I feel like they loved it because of it's very niche, kind of has its own thing. I mean, and we watched it before it closed down. I mean, it's an interesting thing that's very much from a time that is gone. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if these people are going to like the fact that now you're having like these Disney IPs shoved into it. Like, I'm assuming the Bears are singing these songs, but before there was like the whole idea was the Bears had their own songs they were singing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm curious as to the people that liked it, if they'll like this new version. I kind of feel like they're going to like it as much.
Oh, I guess we'll see next month.
I mean, I suppose we will. I'm also curious if the blinking can be heard still.
I think that was one of those things they were fixing.
I mean, we'll see, but anyways, that's going to be there. And then the last news that we have is that there is a behind-the-scenes look at the Little Mermaid musical adventure show that is coming to Hollywood Studios.
Yep. They showed us some new puppets, including the dog. I think the dog is a new puppet. A mix of digital characters and live performances. And the concept art looks actually really cool. It is opening later this year, even though previously it was supposed to open this fall. So it'll open sometime in the next 6 months. We don't know when.
It'll be December 29th.
I mean, it could be December. I mean, who knows? Who knows? You know, when we know, you'll know. So
Yes.
yeah, so that was all the stuff that they had talked about during the media preview, and then it was later on Disney Parks blog. But I'll put the links in the show notes.
Yeah, so that's all the stuff there, yeah. And nothing else news-wise, really, to talk about.
I mean, not really. Oh, the only thing that popped up right before we started recording was that they redid the dining area at San Angel Inn over in Epcot in the Mexico Pavilion, and it looks so much better because it used to be just like rows of tables like super close together, and it was like hard to like navigate. And then now it's all like separated and closed off. There's it's like booths and tables together. I was like, oh, this looks better. So I'll have to check that out.
I apparently ate here, although I still dispute with my dad. My dad says we ate here when I was in 8th grade. I do not recall this, nor remember it. Me or my brother. So I think I've never eaten here.
Okay.
Even though my family says we did. And I'm like, I don't think so. But
I have.
And I believe my brother, because my brother has like a steel trap mind, and he's like, I don't recall ever doing that. I'm like, okay, if he can't remember it and I can't remember it, I'm going to say we never did it there. I've went through the Donald ride where you see it, but yeah, the pictures of it do look better. But I can't say I've ever had firsthand experience with it, but.
All right.
But all right, well, that's it for the news. But Jamie does have a poll time.
Poll time.
It's poll time. Tell us what you think. Every opinion counts. Come on and link. We're discussing it all. We're taking a stance. Poll time's the segment. Let's give it a chance.
Yeah. I love that song. Okay, so
Little wordy.
oh, I don't care. I love it.
I feel like I feel like I need to like shorten that up, but yeah. No,
Nope, I love it.
Okay.
Keep it.
Okay.
All right. So my poll time this week was: there are only a few water rides at Disney World, not counting water parks, that have the potential to get you wet, i.e., Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Cali River Rapids. Having said that, how often do you go on these water rides? 71% said it depends on the time of the year, weather, what I'm wearing, etc. 13% said I will ride Tiana since it is new, but not every time. 8% said as much as I can, and also 8% said never. Water rides are not for me. So a lot of people said I don't like having wet socks, squishy shoes. Don't like that. Some people say they only do it in the heat of summer when they know they're going to dry quickly. But again, it's not an every time thing for most people. Yeah. Someone said it'll be a one and done for Tiana's. I'll wear a poncho on water rides. I hate being wet in the parks. Fair enough. Fair enough. I feel like the same way. Like, I don't like riding Cali River Rapids, and Tiana's like, obviously we'll do the previews and maybe like one other time in the summer, but it's not a ride that I'm just going to like be like, oh, let's just go ride Tiana's, like pop in the park and do it. But like, no, I have to like prep for it because I don't want to be wearing like jeans or something and just get them wet. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to feel like that. But
I feel like that's how most people feel with water rides. I'm not,
Yeah.
It's rare that I will really go on one. Like the ones we did one at Universal. It was like the, what was it? The
Popeyes,
where you base the whole excuse for you is to just get soaked,
drenched.
And the day we did it, though, I think we had like the kids had swim stuff on. I think I had swim shorts on.
Purposely. I did it on purpose.
Right. And it's fine. But at the same time, like I don't like being wet. Now I don't have to worry about wet socks. I hate wet socks. But now that I have like the cane shoots, it's not as big of a deal. But just being wet in general, it's not fun. And really, you would think it dries quicker in Florida, but the humidity being a lot of times your shirt and stuff doesn't dry out as quick as you might think it would.
Maybe it's just the heat, though. The heat really does help.
It does,
Well.
but I think I'm not surprised to hear most people are just sort of like it depends, and yeah, that's not surprising.
Well, this makes me curious to know like what the ride lines will be like for Tiana's like in January.
Oh, I don't think too much.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be still like a very like sought after ride even when it's cold? I'm just like, I just don't think so. I don't think people would be willing to ride it for that.
I think water rides have like a ceiling in terms of the amount of people that will be able to be into them, and especially in the colder months, like, you're not going to get as many people that are just going to ride
Yeah.
it. I mean, it wasn't uncommon with Splash Mountain. You would see like 10-minute waits if it was like January.
Yeah.
So
That's
probably
true.
probably
That's
something
true.
similar.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for participating in the poll this week. I will have a new poll next week.
Yes, and if you be part of the next poll time, you can do that in a couple ways. You can go to the Capture the Magic Facebook community and join there, and Jamie posts those in there, and also over on Instagram at Cap the Magic, as Jamie posts those in the stories. So you can go to both places, but yeah, go over and do that. So, all right, well, let's get to our discussion, which is what we would fix in all 4 parks.
Yes.
So this is just kind of a little fun thing
Yeah.
to talk about. I have some thoughts. I've talked about it many times, but so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we'll just have a little discussion about it. And obviously, if you have ideas that we didn't say or you disagree with us, feel free, if you're watching on YouTube, comment, or if you're especially in the Facebook group, Capture the Facebook community, it's a good place to talk about it in there if you agree or disagree or whatever. So
And this is stuff like, what will we add to it to make the parks better? Not like stuff that we absolutely hate. Like that's not the vibe here. So just FYI.
I mean, this is just us, what ideas we would have to improve things. That's it. So, all right, first park we'll go over to is Magic Kingdom. And now this list we have is very much like it's Jamie and I combined. We don't each have our own things. So we kind of combined this here. So the first one is one I've been advocating for a very long time. And I think with Tokyo Disney, I mean, I think you could take the hint from that. And this is probably going on 3 or more years I've been talking about this. But
More than that. We've been on this show for 7 years. You've been talking about it for like at least 5.
a while.
Yeah.
But is to now my reason I say that people are going to gasp some people, but it's like change out Small World and put a Rapunzel ride in here. Now the reason I say that, this is not the original Small World. The original Small World is in Disneyland.
Right.
So this is a copycat, which to me, I'm like, okay, it doesn't have the value that it's not. If Walt would have built this one, I would feel differently about it. But it's already set up with the water in there. You could do the lantern scene in this thing. It's in Fantasyland. It's in prime real estate. It would probably be, my guess would be, if they did the ride like they did over in Tokyo, I'm guessing it would probably become the most popular ride in the park.
I mean, it could be.
Now, you could argue, does Fantasyland need that many more people back there? That's a valid point.
Especially in that area.
Right. So you might have to do a little something about the crowds back there. But it would also fit right in with the Rapunzel bathrooms that are there already. So you would actually have your own little Rapunzel area. Get your lantern scene. I feel like it's a home run. I feel like it's an easy win, and you improve upon. Again, I know the Disney people have a special place for Small World, but again, it's not the original. And just, again, normie people don't look at Small World how the Disney crowd looks at Small World. So if you're looking at things that would bring people in, I think that would be one.
I agree. I very much agree.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the next one?
Another one, gosh, it's been a long time, but I think we just need a nighttime parade.
Well, rumor is there might be one coming.
The rumor has been around for years.
If they announced
It's
that
not
at
happening.
D23, that would actually be a big thing if they did.
That'd be huge. I mean, what? I don't even remember the last time we had one. Has it been a decade?
It's been a very long time.
Main Street Electrical Parade, obviously, that came back in Disneyland for a limited time. But, man, if they were to develop a brand new nighttime parade along those lines with the like Spectrum Magic or whatever, I would love that. And it's a great way to keep the crowds away from the rides, and you can do the parade and do the fireworks. I don't know why, just because they don't want to just spend the money or don't have like performers or whatever, but man, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know the why as to why they haven't. I feel like it's something that would be very popular. Other than I think in the current iteration of Disney, that's a lot of it is we tuck parades behind, you pay for it.
Well, but Festival of Fantasy has been around since 2012.
Right,
Do
but I think a
that.
daytime parade versus the nighttime parade is a different. I think a nighttime parade is much more of a big draw than a daytime parade. And if you look at like the Halloween parties and the Christmas parties, that's when they do those parades. So I'm not saying that's the reason.
I know.
It seems to be that they put the nighttime parades into the shows. But I do think a nighttime parade would be something that would go over very well.
I would love that.
Yeah. All right, what's the third one we've got?
A third one is I would love to see a Haunted Mansion Nightmare Before Christmas overlay.
Yes.
like they do at Disneyland.
The fact they haven't done this is interesting because I mean, Nightmare Before
know.
Christmas is such a, I'll say it's a niche following, but it is very popular, and I feel like it just when you do these things like around the holidays, it's different, so it becomes a draw. So you
Yeah.
immediately create something that's going to draw people in and like eat up crowds, especially during the holidays.
Yeah.
So and I think it would go. Yeah, I mean Disneyland's done it for a while.
Yeah.
Now I'm not a Nightmare Before Christmas fan personally, but I do see how this would be pretty cool to see.
I'm not either, but it would fit so well. Let's just make it happen, guys. Maybe they can't get to the back building very well, like where like the actual house part. Maybe it'll be like kind of a chore to get back there. But I was like, you guys can do it.
I don't. No, if they wanted to, they could.
That's true.
I don't know why they haven't, but yeah. No.
I don't know.
The only one I would add about this, and I've said this for years as well, is give Tomorrowland some sort of identity. That's the last thing I would say is like it's a land without an idea. It doesn't know what it is. It's just this mismatch of Monsters Inc. and what used to be Stitch is now an empty building, and then we've got Tron and you got Space Mountain. Like it just is. It just doesn't. Tomorrowland Speedway. It's just all these things don't match.
Yeah.
Like give it an identity. I've said for a while, doing a stylized version of like the 80s, how we thought the future would look in the 80s, kind of like we do with like The Incredibles, like the 50s with a modern tech, take to it. I think that would go over very well and look really cool. I wish it, because I like the idea of Tomorrowland, but it's just very long been a land that doesn't know what it is.
Yep. Is it space? Is it technology? Is it future?
Redo
what
Buzz
is it?
Lightyear as part of it. Make it a better shooting ride.
Yeah. That would be good too.
Yeah. Because other than that, Magic Kingdom is the most fleshed out park, but Tomorrowland to me is like the thing that just sits there. Is like, okay. And a lot of times it's the first thing you see. You come out of there, and the first thing you see is a closed attraction, and then Monsters Inc. laugh floor, and you're like, does that really scream Tomorrowland?
Well, if you're going for the first time, you're not going to know that it's a closed attraction. You just look at it and go, "Oh, look, stroller parking."
Right, and which is weird because you would assume like that your first impressions are, here's what we're presenting. You've got the people mover and stuff like that is cool, but a lot of it's just again, it's like a mismatch of stuff back there. But.
Yes.
All right, well, let's move over to Epcot, which we just talked about, but we still have some ideas of things we would change.
Yes.
In Epcot.
The first one, a new country and world showcase. We last got a new country in, I want to say it was 1989, 88, 89, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're due one. I think we're due a new country.
And there's been rumors of like Colombia. There's been rumors of
Brazil
yeah,
was one.
I think Hawaii.
Greece was one too.
Wasn't Hawaii or Polynesian type thing?
Well, Hawaii is in the U.S.
I know, but I thought there was like there was like a Polynesian vibe idea one at some point I'd heard about, but
like French Polynesia or something.
Something maybe.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that one, but they've got the room for it. And honestly, the area with African Outpost, I feel like that area doesn't really it's more like a walkthrough for most people. I feel like you could really do something with that area right there, and you have that room. And there's also, I don't know if it's there anymore, but right next to France and between France and Morocco, I think it's because of Marimi's back there. I don't know if it's still like space back there to do it, but there was space to put a country there.
Yeah. I feel like there probably still would be, but maybe not.
There is. I can't remember.
I don't know the ins and outs, but that's a spot you potentially could, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that would be something that I would like to see is a new country, a new blood in World Showcase.
A new blood?
A new blood.
Okay. All right. I think, again, we touched on this briefly. I think doing something with the Wonders of Life Pavilion, given that that's just set vacant for how long now?
Years.
Very long. Well, yeah.
Years.
Very long time. It's in a prime spot in the World Showcase. There's just things you could do, and you're just sitting back there, unutilized space. Especially like World Showcase is still the biggest draw to Epcot. I mean, you have Guardians, you got Remy's, you got like Frozen. You do have some rides people enjoy, but again, Remy's and Frozen are in the World Showcase.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me to just the thing that's your biggest strength or your biggest draw to do more stuff to improve upon that. So
what's interesting though is where it's placed, like where it sits. it sits in an area where not many people walk by unless you specifically go over there.
Right.
Because I honestly don't even think about it when I'm in there. When I'm in,
I mean, it is tucked away, but
it
knowing
is.
it's there
right.
and then knowing it's a huge space.
Right. You have the space. Why don't you do something with it?
Or do an attraction there or something. You know what I mean?
They just
do
recently
something.
like mowed or cut a bunch of grass back there, like overgrown weeds
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And the stroller parking sign from when it was Wonders of Life is still there.
Yeah.
Like like I said, they haven't really touched it. And like the top of it, the dome is real dirty and it's getting kind of yucky. And I don't even know what the inside looks like, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty gutted,
Yeah.
you know? But anyway, I don't know if they'll end up bulldozing it and doing something completely different. Who knows? But as of right now, nothing. So
I mean, over the years, they've seen Imagineering supposedly going over and looking at the area. So I'm sure they've tossed ideas around, but it seems like nothing has, either they figure other things take priority or whatever it is. But
do you think it has something to do with, and because I saw a video about Horizons, which is where Mission Space is now.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering if there's something to do with the soil or the ground over there, because I think there was like a sinkhole at one point.
it's possible because that's one reason as to then that'll take us to our next one. But that is one reason why Horizons was changed is because it was actually kind of sinking. And that's something you always have to think about when you come to you got Florida because the soil sometimes can be unstable. Like there was for the longest time, and I think they always test the soil. I think every so often around near the TTC is that there was originally an idea to put a hotel there, but they didn't because of the soil.
That's right.
And they still test it from time to time. So that is a thing, given it's basically swampland. So it's possible that it could be something along those lines. I mean, if that is the case, you then would think they would almost have to bulldoze it.
I know.
Or they'd have to, I'm sure reinforcing something that's already built would be very expensive. But
right.
yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like, it's definitely one of those things where it could be part of the issue, given it's not far from, where Horizons was. But which leads us to our third one, which would be, I would say either close Mission Space or do something different here. It's
do it again.
I mean, yeah. I feel like if they brought back Horizons, I think people would love it. If they like redid a modern version.
Never will.
They won't, but
No.
I think there's aspects of Mission Space like I like the kids play area in there, which is nice. It's got activities in there, but the ride itself, I just don't get the draw. It's one of those weird things where it's too intense for most people, and then the lighter version is just like, why waste your time? Like, go ride Soarin'.
Yeah.
Like, Soarin's going to be a better experience versus just being in a confined cockpit to sort of just be like, oh, we glided around Earth and come back.
Yeah.
Like, I just.
It's an interesting one. I do enjoy its play area for the AC and to keep my kids company when it's raining.
Yeah, and
I do like that.
And you've got the Space 220 restaurant. You have things around it. Like, you can still do a space theme, or you just completely redo what that ride is. But whatever it is, just in general, I don't think works.
Yeah, Space 220 is fine.
And it's in prime real estate. Like, you put something there, like right next to Guardians, and it's a good ride. I mean, people would go there, and it'd be, high wait times all the time.
Absolutely. It was so expensive, though. I think it opened in 2007, I want to say. It cost like $50 million.
Very expensive.
Back then, that was a lot. Still is a lot.
Yeah. I remember I wrote it not long after it opened, because I think when it first opened, somebody had a heart attack on it.
Oh, yeah?
Because that's why they made the lighter version, was because it used to just be that super intense version.
Yeah.
And then I think someone had a heart attack, and then a lot of people were saying it was like too intense, so they made that lighter version of it.
That's what it was. My sister and I went 17 years ago, and did it open in 03 or 07? I can't remember. Anyway, 17 years ago in June. So, a long time ago when I was just a babe. I was like 22. And we did the orange version, and I was one of the sickest times I've ever had.
I can imagine it would make you very
I couldn't deal with it. So I've did it one other time since then. It was the really tame version when they redid it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need it anymore.
Even like our daughter, she used to like going and do it a little bit, and we did it twice. And then the last time we did, she was like, I don't like this. And I was like, I don't need it, babe. Like, I get it, but
yeah,
not a great attraction. And not to mention, they got rid of Gary Sinise.
Yeah, you're still bitter about that, aren't you?
You already had a terrible ride, and you got rid of the best part of that ride. Like, that's on you. Now we're going to space with people that I don't trust. Put it that way.
Okay.
All right, let's move over to Hollywood Studios. And I have some thoughts.
Okay.
I'll leave my main one to the third because it's my own little rant thing we'll talk about.
Oh, you have one. Okay, good.
The first one we have is somehow move Launch Bay into Galaxy's Edge or close to it. Now, this is something you had.
This is what I put. I think it's weird that all the Star Wars stuff is so separate. Obviously, Launch Bay was there first, and Galaxy's Edge is supposed to take place in a different time, and time and space is different. So I'm like, well, okay, well, can't we just move it closer? Can we put it in like Grand Park area or something? I don't know, because right now it's just weird to have to go all the way across and see Chewie and BB-8 and all that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts here now.
Here we go.
Star Wars is a mess in general as a franchise, a complete mess to begin with.
Here he goes.
But the other part is Star Wars in Hollywood Studios. You're right; it has 3 separate parts. You've got Star Tours, you've got Launch Bay, and then you've got Galaxy's Edge.
At least Star Tours is on the same side.
Agreed, but you still have 3 separate parts for one franchise, which is weird. So here's the thing: just redo Galaxy's Edge. Get rid of this whole Batu and all blah blah. Just redo it. Include the original trilogy. If you include the prequels and original trilogy into Galaxy's Edge, people would love it. You can still have your sequel trilogy in there if you want to, but people love the prequels. Like, I mean, I think the people, like, you had the generation that grew up on the original trilogy, and those people, like, still love those. But the prequels have a very strong fan base of closer to my age when we were teenagers when that movie came out. Now, I'm not a huge prequels person, but I like them and can appreciate them. Mm-hmm. I feel like people would absolutely love it. And I think it's just this, they're unwilling to do it. It's like, do that. Don't do as much of this modern Star Wars stuff. Take the stuff that's in Launch Bay, find a place for it in Galaxy's Edge. You could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, make it where you can meet Darth Vader in your Star Wars land. That's a start, maybe.
Why don't we ever get to meet Luke Skywalker?
It's a good question.
Wouldn't that be something people want to do?
Or Han Solo.
Or Han Solo.
Or Princess Leia. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Meet and greets of popular characters. I mean, you could do Obi-Wan. You could do old version, young version. Like, what
about Anakin as an 18-year-old?
I was going to say Anakin. Like, get rid of this whole, it has to be stuck in a timeline. Just get rid of that. It hasn't worked. If you bring these things in, you can still have your meet and have a meet and greet area where you can have the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and you've got different characters. It would be a huge hit the entire time. Also, the idea for Star Tours, how it changes scenes and things like that, put that in Smuggler's Run. Just get rid of this whole piloting system because, let's be really honest, it doesn't work that great anyways. And then, listen, I love our kids, but if they're pilots, I feel terrible about the other people in the thing with us because you're going to hit everything and it affects the experience.
Right.
So just make it where this is changing scenes. You're in the Millennium Falcon. It has a lot of potential. You can still do a lot of stuff with Galaxy's Edge, but it is just like Star Wars is currently, it is a mess in terms of Star Wars in the parks. Get more streamlined and then use the area back there where, Launch Bay is. Make that your entire, they're doing stuff there. Make that your entire kids area of things like that. I'm not saying you get rid of Star Tours. I think it should stay, but I think then you would have a better Star Wars experience for, instead of just saying this Star Wars land is for this group of fans, make it for all of them.
Yeah.
For everybody, the prequels, original trilogy, and the sequel. They can all go in there, they can all enjoy it and have a good time.
Yeah.
I think that would fix a lot of your problems. Sorry. Okay. Rant over.
Rant over. Let's move on to the next one.
All right. What's the next one?
Retheme Rock and Roller Coaster.
To Creed. I agree.
That's not what I said. I didn't say Creed.
I'm pretty sure you
didn't
said
say Creed.
Could you imagine just arms wide open as you're going through? People would love it.
Aerosmith is fine. And it's been that way since the ride opened.
Are they though?
Are
they though?
I mean,
are they fine?
I mean, we could use a different band it's based on.
Because
why?
They're terrible.
Oh, that's what you're getting at. Okay, so Jared's not a fan
I don't
of
think
Aerosmith.
they're terrible. I'll compare it this way. I think they're very meh. They're okay. They have some songs that are good, but I don't think they're I've never heard people being diehard Aerosmith fans. I'm sure they exist. I just never have met one.
I don't know. What if it was Beatles?
I would love it, but
You would love
I don't
it.
think they're going to do that.
No. Again, I don't have a good like swap out for that. Or, maybe they redo some of that area. I don't know. Because we're talking about like making the park make sense, like where things are put. Like Pixar, they have that Pixar Place area now. Like, are we gonna redo some of these rides to reflect the Pixar characters? We've got Lightning McQueen Academy back there. Could they redo Rock and Roller Coaster as like a Pixar thing? Is that dumb? I don't
think
know.
the fact that Hollywood Studios doesn't have a Pixar area is one of the dumbest things they've done. I shouldn't say dumbest, but
I wouldn't say dumb. I would say like it's hard to figure out how to do that.
I don't really think it is. But I think you have the property.
think
Like
it is.
you have areas where you could do it. Like obviously you got Toy Story Land, but I think you've got The Incredibles. You've the forever rumored Monsters Inc. door ride that they talked about forever.
It's in Disneyland,
right?
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen. You have all these properties you could do it with that would be a huge hit. Again, a lot of the stuff is just spread out everywhere that it doesn't. Hollywood Studios just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it was just a park that seems thrown together, and it does have a lot of dead ends. But
Yeah.
in terms,
It made sense when it opened.
yeah, in terms of Rock and Roller Coaster, I think if you went Creed, you'd have a lot of bros want to ride that.
Okay, well, let's just agree to disagree. Because I don't think I want Creed in there.
You say that, but then when you
I do say
experience it, you'll be like,
No. I'm not changing my mind about that. My third thing that I would improve upon would be to bring back the Streetmosphere on Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard.
"Yeah, that I completely agree with."
They were so entertaining. I mean, it was just straight out of the 30s, 40s, 50s Hollywood. They would interact with the guests. The little shows. Like I miss it. I miss it. I mean, I feel like when I walk down Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard, while it's nice to like see the attractions in front of me and like just be in like atmosphere, having those things going on, it felt more like alive, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think more Streetmosphere in all the parks would be great. But yeah,
Specifically this one,
right,
though.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it definitely added a touch, especially like old time Hollywood stuff and things like that. But yeah, I agree. Bring it back.
Is there anything else in Hollywood Studios for you?
Oh, there's a lot.
Well, let's not say everything. Let's give me one other one you would have.
Well, it's hard to really retroactively do this, but I think Toy Story Land could be so much more than what it is.
Okay, I guess more realistic.
Update Alien Swirling Saucers where it doesn't look like it's 15 years old and it's like a 5-year-old ride.
That'll accept. Yeah, if they could just not, have the paint chipping and make it look like it's just old and
well, and
rugged.
one thing I would say too is you have, I think the connecting area between Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge is odd. Like it's just this long. There's a lot of wasted space. You're just walking in, and there's nothing there.
Well, you're supposed to. Oh yeah, I think you're just supposed to like feel like you're. They don't want to put like signage. Is that what you mean?
No, I just mean it's a lot of area. Like Disney, obviously have different lands, but you don't like when you go from like Main Street or the Hub to Adventureland, like you do have a little bit of a walk space there to like separate it. I mean, it is, I guess, in terms of that, like it's not completely uncommon, but there's just nothing there. I feel like that's just a space they can make those two lands a little bit better in their, I guess we call it their transition. To me,
okay, I'll accept that.
I think there's
Just for
things you could do
transition.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Here, it is a kind of a long walk because you see Woody at the end. You're like, oh, there he is.
Well, and that's the thing.
You're
It's
right
like
there.
you have the visual of seeing it.
Yeah.
So it kind of, but that's a little nitpicky, I will say. But I think Alien Swirling Saucers could be a better, well-kept ride, put it that way. So
Okay, fair enough.
All right, let's move on to Animal Kingdom. What are some things we do? So the first one I would say is your biggest attraction is Pandora.
Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage is the biggest one. I would say put another ride back here.
They have the space for it,
They do have a spot there for it that they could.
right? There's an expansion pad back there.
Mm-hmm.
behind is behind Pongu or
I-
behind Satuli
I
Canteen
think it's behind Satuli Canteen, if I remember correctly, but somewhere in that area.
over there. Yeah, I build upon that. Like, do something different. Do something. I mean, the movies are coming out, in the next 20 years.
30, 40 years. James Cameron's going to be 115 years old releasing these movies.
Get started now, and you'll be finished in 2030.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was
franchise-
mean.
That
That was
franchise is so weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't think the franchise drives that land. I think the experience of Flight of Passage drives it, and it's a cool area. But you could do another. Now, and what type of ride you do, I don't know. You're not going to do another Flight of Passage necessarily.
Well,
but
this is why I like Pandora in general too. The movies don't really do anything for me, but walking into that land, I don't have to care about the movies. I can just look around and be like, oh, we're in a different world. There's these like interesting plants and the floating clouds. You're like, what? Where am I? Like this is crazy. But yeah, the attractions are good enough. Flight Pass obviously is the best one. But I don't know. You're just taken to a different world, and the theming is so immersed that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I haven't seen the movies.
I agree. I've said that for a long time. It's one of the things that is a strength about it, which lends to my thing. I don't think everything has to be an IP. I think you could do a really cool land. Now they won't, but you could, because I don't think a lot of people know a lot about Avatar. But yeah, I think another lane in there or another ride in there would go over good.
See, they're doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong. You do a land or an attraction with no IP, it gets popular enough, and then you do a movie about it, becomes an IP.
They've tried that though. The only one that's
Pirates of
worked
the Caribbean.
is Pirates, because you had Johnny Depp. Let's be honest. He made that whole thing.
I'm just saying.
They've tried. Now I'm just saying they've tried it. They've tried it with Haunted Mansion. They've tried it with Tomorrowland. They've kind of tried this model and it hasn't really worked. Not that it couldn't. I mean, if you get a good story and all that, you could do it. But
I will be waiting for Living with the Land movie
well, that's just called taking a nap.
coming next year.
You just lay down and you're just like, that was a nice 20-minute nap. Everybody likes a good 20-minute nap.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Next one here is add another table service restaurant, perhaps in the new Tropical Americas area. That is more than likely going to happen.
Yeah, because right now we've got Tiffin's, we've got Yak and Yeti, got Rainforest Cafe, and Tusker House. So we've got 4 sit-down restaurants. That's the least amount in any park. I think there's 5 or 6 in Hollywood Studios. So I think it could use another sit-down restaurant. And with the Tropical Americas, the Encanto section, Dinoland is going bye-bye. Let's put one in there. Make it Colombian themed or whatever.
You could. They probably will.
I mean, like, take Restaurantosaurus and make it a table service.
Yeah. You'd have, well, I'm not a big fan of Restaurantosaurus, so you'd have to
No,
do one.
retheme it.
I know.
Completely. Yeah,
You could, but yeah. I mean, yeah. I think there's more pressing things about Animal Kingdom personally, but that is one you could put in there. For instance,
I'm trying to be positive and say, like, what I would add to it.
no, I was thinking add to. I think the thing you would add to Animal Kingdom would be a Lion King ride. The fact, if you look, Animal Kingdom, Animal Kingdom can be essentially looked at as the reason that whole park was built was because of the popularity of the Lion King.
I don't think that was the main driving force. No, I think that may have played a little bit of a
I think that
part.
was part of it. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying. What I'm saying is Lion King is one of the most popular franchises they've ever, like one of the most popular movies. You still have the Little Mermaid ride that people love. I still think to this day, if you did a Lion King, some sort of ride or attraction, it would be immensely popular. And the fact they haven't, I mean, yeah, they have the show, but it's a show. Like, do an actual ride. It's the same thing with, like, for the longest time, they didn't have, like, Mickey in any rides and stuff like that. It's like, why? Like, just an Animal Kingdom one would be real. I think you could do it really well. And again, Animal Kingdom needs more rides. That's one of the biggest things I would say is they need more things to do, which I hope they do, a lot of this redo and add more things into Dinoland and stuff like that, because they do need more stuff to do. But a Lion King one, I think, would be a home run and an easy win. And you don't have to do anything, like, insane. You could just do a basic dark ride if you wanted to that just retells the movie. You don't have to do anything, like, wild with it.
On that same thing, why did it take them like 50 years to put Mickey in an attraction?
I don't know. I've said this wrong. They do think it's very odd sometimes. It's like, why? That's what's perplexing me about Animal Kingdom. Like, why do you not have more of a Lion King? Because again, they remade the Lion King live action. They're doing a prequel Lion King.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a very iconic movie. Like, why would you not have more of a presence in the parks than they do?
I do remember this as a kid at Disney in the 90s. There were not nearly as many meet and greets. Like it was few and far between, and they didn't have like specific spots. It was more like Disneyland where they were just kind of like, oh, let's just do meet and greet here.
Yeah.
Just walk around. Oh, we'll just do it right here. But I remember that. Yeah. It's just, sorry, I didn't mean to like go on a tangent there, but yeah, that was just kind of like what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the third one you would do?
Okay, so I don't know if this is possible, but I feel like maybe it could be because I know there's like otters and stuff, and the rhinos have water. But like, what about just more underwater exhibits? Not go full SeaWorld with this, but more underwater animals.
Oh, you mean like a animal
Like
showcase area or something?
dolphins.
Oh, you want dolphins?
I don't know. Seals? I don't know. I like
I feel
underwater
but I feel like Animal
fish.
Kingdom's vibe is more like safari type animals.
I know. I understand this. And this is just me thinking. This is me thinking like what I would like to see more of. And it would be that.
I mean,
Underwater animals.
penguins are cool.
Oh my gosh.
But
the
I don't-
penguins.
I mean, if you had a penguin exhibit, you'd have to keep it cold, which would be a huge hit in Animal Kingdom because it would be cold.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah. I'm thinking about SeaWorld. They have the penguin.
I know.
Thing.
And I've always loved
And
penguins.
it's freezing in there.
But like, yeah, if you had like an attraction, A, they're penguins, and B, they're like, by the way, it's 30 degrees in here, and it's like 98 degrees in the middle of the summer in Animal Kingdom. There's going to be some people wanting to go in there.
It's true.
So if you need a coat, no, I'm good. I'll be fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
But that was mine. Do you have any more for Animal Kingdom?
Uh,
Just more attractions in general?
well, I mean, it's basically out in the open that they're going to do something with Dino Land, and they're probably retheming
Yeah.
a lot of that area to, well, it depends on what you Encanto, Indiana Jones stuff. So a lot of this stuff is probably going to happen, but I think in general they just need more things to do ride wise, because I feel like it mostly is like a half day park.
By the way, they have some new nachos at the Smiling Crocodile. They're like the barbacoa nachos. Apparently they're amazing.
I don't know what barbacoa is.
It's like the flavor. It's like pulled pork and
Oh, okay.
queso and stuff. Anyway, I just saw that and I was like, oh, that looks so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, the only thing I would say about all the parks, like in general, is I think longer park hours would be nice.
Yes, I agree. There was a time whenever Magic Kingdom during the summer regularly would be open till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
midnight.
Sadly, I think those days are probably gone because
Uh-huh.
they're going to charge for that type of thing. But yeah, I remember when we first started going that the parks would be open way later.
And like Pandora, we were just talking about Animal Kingdom, Pandora, the nighttime effects, the lit up floor, lit up ground, walking around,
Mhm.
everything. You don't see that really because it's still light outside when the park closes.
Yeah. I mean, to that
So-
note, I think Animal Kingdom having a nighttime show would help things. Even do the drone show that you got at Disney Springs, which I think eventually may move over to Animal Kingdom, but I think that would
Could
be
be.
something that would be a very popular thing
I don't know.
that people would enjoy. But
Definitely longer park hours would definitely help.
yeah, so all right, anything else you want to add?
I mean, there's of course a bunch of things that I would be like, oh, I do this different, I do this different. But this is more of a what we would like kind of add to or maybe change a little bit just to be like, okay, let's just tweak this and it'll make it even better. You know,
Agreed.
so keeping it positive for the most part.
I mean, listen, sometimes honesty is honesty. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for the show. Be sure to check us out over on social media. We're at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok. We're at Capture the Magic. Again, video versions of the show you can find over on YouTube at CTM Podcast. You can also check us out on the main podcast channel, the main YouTube channel at Cap the Magic. And I'll be having an Epic Universe construction update this week on there and some other videos on that channel. So be sure to check that out. And we have some other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal show where we talk about Universal Studios, and that is twice a month. And we'll have an episode coming out where we'll check out the new shows that are going on at Universal. And we just had an episode talking about DreamWorks Land. So if you're curious about that, you can go check it out there. We talk all about that. Jamie also has Trip Tales, which is a trip report show. When's the next one they're coming out?
I'm recording next week, so it should be the end of the month. I'll have it out.
Okay. And again, if you want more content, ctmvip.com, Club 32 is where you go for that. And so I think that will do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
We will see you in the parks.
bye.